I am the Dadcrafter, and this is my long-term survival world. In this episode, we're going to add a non-stackable item filter to our item sorter. I did my last video where I fixed up my storage room, and one of you in the comments mentioned that, the problem I was having with my storage room where items coming in from my mob farm were overloading the system. Basically, all of the non-stackable items, bows, armor, things like that, were ending up all over the place and creating all sorts of issues for me. Well, Super Mario 1576 made the great suggestion that I could actually add a non-stackable item diverter, something that would take those out of the system so that I don't have to worry about those items getting into the storage system and causing those issues that they were causing before. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build one of those systems. Now, I'm going to utilize a tutorial that came to me from Mumbo Jumbo on YouTube, and that tutorial showed me exactly how to build this system that I need in order to make sure that all of those non-stackable items make their way out of my item sorter. And the good news is I have all of the items that I need to take this build on right here in my storage room. We're going to need a couple different redstone tools. We'll need some redstone torches. We'll need a redstone repeater. We'll need a redstone comparator. And we'll go ahead and craft those up right now. We've got the nether quartz right there. Over on this side of the aisle, we've got the stone that we need. And of course, we just crafted up the redstone torches that we need. So now we can go ahead here and we can craft up that redstone repeater. So we'll go ahead and make that. And then we can also craft up the redstone comparator. So we'll go ahead and we'll craft that. So now that we have both of these items in hand, we can use those along with the hoppers that I crafted up earlier, and of course the chests that I crafted up earlier as well. So we'll go ahead and put away the items that we don't need anymore, and then we'll head over here to where my storage room begins. So all of the items that come into my auto sorting system come in through this hopper system. The hoppers coming up from the ceiling are coming down from various farms across my world, and these hoppers running along the bottom are coming in from the chest just on the other side of this wall. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up this wall because I need to figure out the right space to put this non-stackable item remover, and basically I want to make sure that it goes in somewhere that everything that comes into my farm, everything that comes into my storage room rather, will be removed. We'll have those non-stackable items removed. So basically it needs to be right about where I'm standing now, right where that hopper below me is. That's going to be the key hopper, because to the left of that is the items coming down from around my world, and then of course to the left of that is the items coming in from that first chest. So we're going to have to kind of work down below this hopper in order to make sure that we remove all of the non-stackable items before they make their way any further into the sorting system. Once they get past this point, they're going to make their way into that water elevator, and then they're off to the races. They're going to find themselves into a chest somewhere where I probably don't want them to be. So we're first going to go ahead and place a double chest right there, and then we're going to figure out how to place a hopper that feeds into that double chest. So we'll go ahead here and we'll clear out a little bit more space to work so that we can go over here and then feed a hopper into this double chest, because again we need to feed it into this double chest instead of into the sorting system. And the way that this system works, and you'll see here I realized that that placement for the chest was not really where I wanted it, so we're going to go ahead here and clear out some other stones and make a different spot for the chest. But as I was starting to say, the way that this system works is that the comparator is going to receive a different signal from non-stackable items than it does from stackable items. So when that signal changes, it'll cause the item to either drop through the new hopper that I'm going to place or pass right through into the sorting system. Now, I don't fully understand redstone myself, which is why I love to use tutorials, but basically what I need to do here is I need to have this hopper right next to that comparator, and then when items pass through the upper hopper, they're going to basically, like I said, send a signal into that comparator. It's going to measure that signal and then either send the item down into the new non-stackable item chest, or pass it on through into the rest of the sorting system where it'll get sorted and put into the chest where it belongs. So again, the whole idea here is that it's going to get those non-stackable items out of the way before they can ever get a chance to clog up the system. So pretty genius idea here. Really appreciate the comment that gave me the idea to do this, and then of course appreciate the tutorial from Mumbo Jumbo that showed me how to build this exact thing that I need. So we'll put the repeater here, much like I saw in the tutorial, and then we'll go ahead here and build out the rest of the redstone. It's a pretty simple build. It just requires a handful of blocks and a couple of different redstone pieces. So the one comparator, the one repeater, and then some redstone running along the top of it into a torch in the back of it. So we're going to go ahead here and we're just going to remove a couple of blocks that are in the way right now, and then we'll go ahead here in the back and we'll add the torch where we need it. We need to remove that block up above. We need to put a piece of redstone down on the floor there, so just a little line of redstone on the floor. We need to put a redstone torch up on the back side of this piece here, so we'll go ahead and craft up another redstone torch. And then we'll place that right here on the back, up on that upper block. And then all we need to do is get up on top and add some redstone we don't want to jump on redstone, we want to jump on a block. So we'll jump on the block here, and then we'll add the redstone up on the back of these two pieces here, on top of these two pieces here. And you can see right away the redstone is lighting up. That must be because something is passing through. But that torch that I just looked at, that should be lit up also. So something's not quite right, because that redstone torch in the back should be lit up. So looking at the tutorial, I can tell that something wasn't quite working right. And as you can see, everything was feeding down into that hopper, and that was some iron, some wool, the things that are coming into my sorting system from the various farms across my world. So we got to figure out what's going on, why that redstone torch isn't lighting up, and why, of course, we're not getting items going through. I also realized that I had that hopper directed wrong, so it wasn't directing the items into the chest like it was supposed to. It was just kind of directing them anywhere. So it looks like I actually had that redstone down one too low. So you can see now that the redstone torch was lighting up, and now the items are going down into the chest, except that those were stackable items. We don't want stackable items going on down into the chest. So something's still not quite right. Trying to figure out, the items are going across. They should be falling down into that chest if they're not stackable, and then passing through if they are stackable. So I think the issue is with that torch that's not lit up right now. And actually what I'm going to realize here is that the issue is that the block above that torch needs to be removed. I can't have that full block above the torch because it's messing with the redstone signal. It's not letting it go all the way through. And you'll see that as soon as I remove that block, the torch lit up, meaning that it's now accepting the signal or sending the signal. And I think that that's going to go ahead and fix the issue. So now let's go ahead and test it. We're going to drop this redstone into the hopper here so that it makes its way into the system. And it should go right past. It should not flow down into the chest, and it doesn't. So you can see the chest is empty there. It's not going into that lower hopper. It's making its way into the sorting system where it'll be sorted into the correct chest. That's exactly what we want to happen with items that are stackable. So now that we've got the stackable item remover working properly, the next thing that we need to do is we need to cover it because we don't really want it completely uncovered. And I just happen to have some blackstone brick slabs on me, so we'll go ahead and cover that with a deep slate, a brick slab actually that is. We'll cover it with that for now. We'll fix that up later so that it looks pretty. We'll just test this one more time to make sure. Yep, the redstone is getting through, so we've fixed the issue there. Even with the slab in place, it does work. So we'll go ahead now, we'll put these stone bricks back in place, close off the back side of the room there, and now what we need to do is we need to move this chest to somewhere just a little bit more convenient. So we have it like way down in here, and I want it to be somewhere that I can actually get to it a little more easily. So we're going to place that chest just up a block. It's not a big change, it's just going to move it a little bit, but it's going to make it so that I can get to it a little more easily, because stackable items coming into this auto sorter are all going to now end up in that chest, and having it way down in there would have made it kind of hard to get to it every time. So by putting it right there, now a little bit more convenient, a little bit easier to get to. But the last thing to do now is to test and make sure that those stackable items, the non-stackable items, are not finding their way into my sorting system and are instead finding their way into that overflow chest, that non-stack remover chest. So we drop a bunch of non-stackable items into the chest. They feed now down into the chest. Looks like one item does get hung up in the hopper, but that's okay. We don't mind items in the hopper. The big thing that we wanted to see was that they would make their way down into that chest, and they do. So going forward, any non-stackable items that go into my sorting system, into my storage room, are going to find their way into that chest instead of finding their way into my storage room. And that's exactly what we needed. We needed a way to continue to use our mob grinder, which is going to generate all sorts of non-stackable loot. When that stuff makes its way down into the hopper system, it will now make its way into this chest instead of making its way into the auto sorter itself, and then we'll just have to come here every once in a while and empty out that double chest. But I kind of realized that I'd rather not even have to worry about that, because my mob grinder is going to create a whole lot of this non-stackable loot. And what I don't want to do is have to go there all the time and pull it out of my sorting system. So we're actually going to go here underneath my mob grinder, and we're going to build another one. We're going to have a non-stackable item remover here beneath my mob grinder, removing those items before they ever get anywhere near my actual auto sorter system. In doing this, we'll ensure that we don't have items clogging up that other chest, overflowing it, and then finding their way into the rest of the system. By taking them out here, we can eliminate that problem even further. So we're just going to build that exact same auto remover redstone setup that we just had. We'll add the hopper, we'll add some chests, and in fact here, I think we'll add a couple of chests so that we can collect everything, and then the one in the auto sorter, in the actual storage room, will become like the overflow to the overflow. So instead of having that one be the primary removal station, it'll become a secondary removal station. And this one here will now act as the primary removal station for my mob grinder. The other one will still pick up anything else. So if I happen to drop something into one of the chests that feeds into it that's not stackable, it'll still get removed before it messes up my sorting system. But because I know my mob grinder is going to create a whole bunch of non-stackable loot, this system here will remove that before it ever even gets to the auto sorter. So just a little bit of redundancy here being built in. Now that I know just how easy it is to build one of these non-stackable item removers, I don't think there's any reason not to build one right here beneath my mob grinder. And when I say beneath, I'm like, two stacks down and then underground, because the mob grinder's way up in the air there. But this is the hopper system that's feeding out of my mob grinder into my auto sorting system. It's connecting up with a bunch of other farms that are feeding into that auto sorter. So right here, we've tested it out. It's working. It's going to remove those non-stackable items. So we'll go ahead here. We'll add a second double chest so that we've got 2 double chests worth of storage space for those non-stackable items. And that way, we won't have too much to worry about in terms of those items ever finding their way over to my actual auto sorter system. They'll get caught up right here beneath the mob grinder. So we'll go ahead up and we'll just test this out. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of mob grinding up here at the top. We need to fix up our mending netherite pickaxe anyway. The durability on that is down to about halfway. So we'll use the mob grinder to get the experience that we need to fix up our pickaxe. And in the process, we'll find out whether or not our new auto non-stack item remover is working. And sure enough, it is. We can see down here at the bottom that the second double chest has already got a whole row of bows and armor that have fed into it. So we may find that we ultimately want to add a couple more chests to this system, because, again, I was only up there mob grinding long enough to repair one pickaxe, and I generated an entire row of a chest worth of loot. So let's go ahead here. We're just going to throw a few things into this chest, that the main feeder chest into my auto sorter, just to be sure that that one is functional as well. I think that I placed this remover in the right spot to catch everything, but we're going to place some non-stackable items. Sure enough, those items are getting captured and removed from the system before the item can ever make its way into my auto sorter. So once again, a big thanks to Super Mario 1576 with the comment on my last video letting me know that this type of a non-stackable item remover was even something that could be built, because now that I know it can be built, I went ahead and built one, not just one in fact, but two of these on my long-term survival world, so that I no longer have to worry about my auto sorter getting clogged up with those non-stackable items, and I can keep my mob grinder attached to my auto sorter without any concern for what it's going to do to the overall build. As always, I am the Dadcrafter, and I appreciate you tuning in. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. As you can see, I do read the comments, and I love to follow the guidance that you all are giving me. I'll catch you on the next episode.